Hello and good morning. I'd like to welcome you to the Family Service and Guidance Center's second Hope and Healing fundraising breakfast. My name is Mickey Bircher, and I am honored to serve as the chair of the Family Service and Guidance Center Foundation Board of Directors. And on behalf of everyone on the board, I want to take this moment to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us for this event. We're really excited to have the opportunity to be here with you today and give you a better understanding of the work that the Family Service and Guidance Center does, as well as show you some of the huge challenges that kids and families in our community are facing. I'd love for you to dig into that breakfast, which was provided by our friends over at Hy-Vee today. A couple thank yous before we get started. Our table captains are, of course, the reason many of you are here today. They are all longtime supporters and friends of the Family Service and Guidance Center, and they've all invested a lot of time and energy into making this morning's breakfast possible. So a huge thank you to all of our table captains. And I also want to thank Eaton Roofing and Exteriors for sponsoring this morning's breakfast. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We are so excited to be back this year. Last year's Hope and Healing Breakfast, like so many other events, was forced to take a year off. So I wanted to give you a little reminder of what the Family Service and Guidance Center does. We serve kids, little kids, big kids, all kinds of kids from ages 2 to 18 and from all over Topeka and Shawnee County. Now these kids all have one thing in common. They depend on FSGC for a broad range of mental health services to help them cope with common mental health issues, such as anxiety, depression, or ADHD. They also have one other thing in common. They have hopes and dreams, and often they're huge, just like all other kids. Now I'd like to take a moment to get to know some of these kids from FSGC just a little bit better.
Playing with toys, and that's it.
Coloring, because it's peaceful.
Painting.
Black Panther.
Flash, you can go fast, and Hulk, that you can smash things.
I would be the Flash, because I could pick my arm really fast. To have mom and dad.
Pets, people, and vehicles.
My mom and my dad got a roof over my head.
Being an NFL player.
A police officer, so I could make the world be safe.
I would make everyone play a sport, because if they have like no one to play with, they are like on a team.
I wish everyone in the world eats chicken nuggets. They wouldn't have to buy me anything I wanted.
Pokemon was real.
I wish I had the power to make money anytime I want.
Me to be a good player, football player.
I wish everyone was good in the world.
Did anyone else think of their own kids and grandkids as they watched that video? I know I sure did. Hi, I'm Brenda Mills, Chief Executive Officer at Family Service and Guidance Center. I'm also a wife and mother to 2 wonderful adult children. Like so many families, we needed help when one of our children was struggling as a teenager. About 12 years ago, our 15-year-old at the time was refusing to go to school and was struggling with anxiety. I remember the daily struggle in the morning before school and not knowing what to do. I was a worried mom and not the CEO of a mental health center. We sought help from experts in anxiety treatment, and we learned the skills necessary for both our child and for us as parents. I'm happy to share that our formerly too anxious to go to school teen learned valuable coping skills and went on to graduate from K-State, is happily married and has a successful career and a full social life. Going through that experience provided such relief to us as parents and gave me a new perspective on the importance of FSGC. All parents can use help sometimes. FSGC continued to support kids during the pandemic by finding unique ways to provide quality mental health services. Because we are an essential service provider, we had to make sure kids got what they needed, even when we couldn't see them in person. Now, our crisis program did continue face-to-face services with safety protocols of distancing, masking, and extra emphasis on hand hygiene. However, our case managers and therapists quickly shifted to providing services by telehealth, both phone and video. Since schools were closed, our school-based mental health intervention team of therapists and case managers tried to connect with kids and families by phone and video. And when restrictions eased, they started knocking on doors of clients' homes. We provided lots of socially distant front-porch therapy or taking walks with kids, all the while providing services. Our mental health specialists and attendant care staff even provided an education program at our facility for kids who could not manage their remote schoolwork from home. This assistance helped to ensure kids wouldn't fall behind in education and social skills. I'm so very proud of the FSGC staff for their creative efforts that exceeded all expectations. FSGC supported families by hosting our real-world parenting conversations by Zoom. We also held an 8-session parenting class called Parenting because kids don't come with instructions, also on Zoom. Interestingly enough, telehealth led to some very positive outcomes with treatment. We saw more parental and family involvement as they could sit in on appointments and communicate with their providers. One big obstacle for some families is the lack of reliable transportation. This can lead to missed appointments and disruptions in the treatment process. Telehealth removed this obstacle. We also continue to build a healthier community by being there for our families. We knew from the outset that mental health issues would arise during and on the back end of this pandemic. We had concerns about isolation, the lack of social and emotional interaction that comes with school, plus economic and domestic challenges. In the fall of 2020, we added a free 15-minute consultation called Ask a Child Therapist. Parents and caregivers can go to our website and complete a brief contact form with their concern, and an FSGC clinical staff member will respond. We have provided anything from a listening ear and reassurance to professional advice and recommendations that there may be a mental health issue that needs to be addressed. FSGC is also honored to be a partner in Kansas Stronger Together, which is a statewide pandemic initiative to help struggling Kansas families. This is available to anyone, client or non-client, who needs help with housing, food shortages, or medical and mental health issues. Anyone with pandemic-related problems can access this assistance. Now, FSGC is compelled to meet a critical need in our community. There are some broad service gaps in our state's mental health services. Children, teens, and families in our community who need a level of care and support that is currently not available. We need to support those with potentially life-threatening mental health crises or substance use issues. Family Service and Guidance Center has to step up and meet the needs of our children and teens like we've never done before. Now is the time to act. We need your help if youth in our community are to get the treatment and care that they not only need, but that they deserve. I could talk about this all morning, but no one tells the story better than the clients who are healing, thanks to donors like you. So I'm going to turn it over to one of them. Thank you all very much for joining us this morning.
Hi, my name's Jordan, and I'm 20 years old.
I met Jordan first doing therapy. Jordan walked into my office, and I just remember seeing this just kid just full of energy, just a ton of energy, went into the office. And first I thought, what did I get myself into? How am I going to be able to maintain this level of energy? But you learn very quickly with Jordan that it was very easy to maintain, and just you fall in love with it quickly. So Jordan had experienced a lot more than youth his age at his age. I probably met him at age 10, and what he's gone through was a lot. And it was traumatizing, it was difficult to watch and deal with and process with him. And it led to a lot of behaviors at home. He was aggressive at home, he would destroy property, he was breaking windows, he get aggressive toward parents, toward his sister at times.
There was this one time that I kind of ticked my mom off. I wanted to go with her and my sister, and she didn't want me to go because her and I were not getting along at that time. She wanted me to get out, so I got out, and I wasn't too happy about it, so I kicked the window and busted the window.
So when Jordan would walk into the crisis resolution program, needing a break from home and just trying to recenter and kind of hit that reset button, he would come in and he would drop his bags and was just like, "Hi family, I'm home." And he would literally say that. He'd walk in and be like, "Hey guys," and he'd refer to us as mom, dad, brother, sister in a joking way, but you could see the staff just light up every time he walked through that door.
My relationship with Jordan went really, really well. He was one of those that always gave 100%. He always showed up. When he went to his house, he always came through the door. When you picked him up from school, he always came. He was always one of those that always would participate, and that's what really allows for success, is a repetition of seeing and hearing and doing over and over and over and over and over again.
He was always in a good mood. When he came into the therapy, he was always just in the office and he was just excited to see people. He was excited to see me, he was excited to see whoever he worked with, whether it was Tyler or crisis folks. He was excited because he knew we were gonna do something fun. Non-traditional therapy in the sense of, we're gonna go fishing, we're gonna go for a hike, we're gonna go shoot hoops in the gym, we're gonna go play pig, we're gonna do something while we talk and process these things. It was like a light switch. You could see him in therapy getting admitted to crisis and just being sad and depressed and crying and having a hard time and holding that anger in, and then he'd walk in with just this emotional release of just joy.
They just cared about me. They said they cared about me. They understood like what I was going through, and just been there for me since day one. Since I first started going there.
When Jordan first started coming to CRP, there were holes in the wall frequently. I can remember a time where he got upset with a chair and just like charged it into a wall, and for months we had this beautiful 4-corner holes in the wall that we called Jordan's Corner. And he lovingly referred to it as that too, but there were outbursts. He would get mad, he would scream, he would yell, he'd be upset. But the difference was he knew it was a safe place to do it.
So having that outlet and that safety net of CRP allows somebody who is at risk to go somewhere, cool off, and then come back and then try to re-engage. I like to say that treatment is a marathon, it's not a sprint. And the people at CRP are like the people who are holding the bottles of water and supporting you every mile of the way. And so when you have that sort of structure, that sort of dynamic, it can really, really flourish if given the chance.
The biggest thing we did to get Jordan engaged in the crisis resolution program was to work off his strengths. And we learned very quickly that Jordan was a very active kid, he was an athletic kid, and he didn't get these opportunities to do at home very often. A lot of times because his behaviors were just so severe, he didn't get those opportunities at home. So we would take him to the gym, and we would take him fishing, and we'd take him hiking, and it would be one-on-one or be in a group, it didn't matter. He would start to open up.
There it is.
Without CRP, John would certainly be in a different place. I think that he would have got there eventually, but many more years down the road. He would have had many more crises in his life. Likely he would have had much more interaction by law enforcement, because he was heading down paths that are difficult to come back from.
I think without the crisis resolution program, Jordan would be well behind where he is today. I don't know that he would be as independent as he was. I think he would probably still be in services daily, probably in adult services and crisis centers with adults, because he hadn't had that chance to process and really figure out how to use his energy and his emotions in a more positive way.
I'm better at controlling my anger, my thoughts, and how I act.
The sky's the limit for Jordan. He is such a lovable kid, adult, I guess you could say now, but he's got such a good personality. People like being around him. People like seeing him. He's just this kid who has so much potential.
We were able to have like a really successful closure, and one of the best clients that I think I've had in probably quite some time.
I would tell those people that helped me, thank you for everything that you done. I would not be here if it wasn't for family service and crisis.
We recognize that in our community we have youth and children who are experiencing severe emotional disturbances and even more concerning substance use disorders. So some of the behaviors that we see in our crisis facility and that we're expanding crisis services for are children who are very aggressive. They don't know how to express their feelings. They've experienced a lot of trauma. They feel like they're being attacked. So maybe aggression. We have some youth who are runaways or try to run away that may also have suicidal thoughts. There are quite a few that we serve that experience suicidal ideation and are very scared by the thoughts that they're experiencing. So typically in that environment, we will determine if there's an immediate risk of threat of harm to self or others, at which point we're going to provide some level of crisis support as an emergent psychiatric intervention to help the youth stabilize. There is a wait for PRTFs, or psychiatric residential treatment facilities. I think currently there's probably 40 to 50 youth across the state on the wait list, and that's been pretty common. What tends to happen then, we have some very high-risk youth who are trying to stabilize in the community or remain in the community while they're exhibiting these pretty intensive symptoms. From the wait list, I know about 15 to 20 of Shawnee County youth are waiting for placement at a PRTF. So we know that a risk factor for youth is kind of experimentation, and oftentimes youth are drawn to trying substances or drugs. And while that seems to be in some ways a natural part of youth risk-taking behavior, we certainly discourage it because it impacts their development. And it's not safe for so many reasons. But some of those youth go on to experience an actual substance use disorder where they become physiologically and psychologically dependent on a substance. That's kind of how a substance use disorder starts. And when it starts younger with adolescents or youth, the prognosis for later in life is very poor. So youth who use substances struggle with functioning in the community, often come to the attention of the police, often come to the attention of school administrators. A lot of times they're just not engaging in school, tend to drop out, or just they may be present, but not present, not really actively participating. So currently in our community, there is a gap in substance use treatment for adolescents. So we have a system of care that where some youth can get substance use counseling, and if that provider doesn't also have mental health training or license, they're referred then elsewhere for mental health treatment. We strongly believe at Family Service and Guidance Center that needs to be integrated, that a provider should be able to see a youth for counseling for any behavioral health problem, and that includes substance use disorders. We feel like what we really need is a longer-term stabilization for youth that, again, treats the family system and prepares them for what they're going back to, that there's some kind of change that's going to occur, and then to keep that momentum going when they return home. So that's why we're going to expand crisis services with Family Service and Guidance Center's Youth Crisis and Recovery Center. And the hope is to build a 20-plus bed unit with about 24,000 square feet. It's really built to be a safe and therapeutic environment and milieu for youth and their families to experience recovery and healing. This facility would be able to provide services over 2 weeks to even 28 days to ensure that stabilization of the youth and their family environment. Long term, the outcome really is for youth to, in that safe environment, be able to trust staff, disclose what they're feeling, what circumstances have been going on outside of the center, perhaps what they're experiencing at home or their perceptions are of the problems going on that have led to their admission to the center. And then ultimately learn new skills on how to address symptoms, how to cope with uncomfortable feelings, how to work on coping skills, stress management skills that they can utilize then in a natural environment, like the community or when they're with their peers or at home or in a classroom setting. So how we think this will benefit our community is that we will have more youth growing up to be successful adults with less psychiatric residential treatment facility admissions on wait lists, and improved access to care where youth and their families are getting more immediate access to care rather than being on a wait list, and ultimately healthy youth and adolescents, families, and adults. Well, the Youth Crisis and Recovery Center is going to be a one-of-a-kind facility as a regional resource in this area for youth and their families to experience just healing and recovery. Thank you for your time this morning to learn about this very important project.
Thank you, Karen. Hi, everybody. I'm Pam Evans, FSGC's Director of Marketing and Development. So we've now heard all about FSGC and met some of our amazing folks. Now it's my privilege to ask you to make a financial commitment that will allow us to establish the Youth Crisis and Recovery Center. This new resource is so needed in our community, and our caring and dedicated professionals at FSGC are eager and willing to help. But we can't do it alone. Looking back, in 2006 was the first time that we appealed to the generosity of our community. It was the first time in decades because we had outgrown existing buildings, scattered all over Topeka, some not in good areas of town. And boy, did the community step up. And now we have a state-of-the-art facility for the treatment of young children and their families. 2 years ago, we hosted our first Hope and Healing fundraising breakfast, and I'm proud to say we raised over $58,000, and that went to expand our children's autism program. If you were here 2 years ago, thank you so much. I'm happy to say we are serving more children than ever, and we're getting ready to start up a parents class. And now I have to share a story of a young boy that reaped the benefits of the community's generosity 2 years ago. His name's Derek. He's now 4 years old. He came to the program, the autism program, when he was 18 months old. He was completely nonverbal, didn't speak, couldn't tell his parents what he needs, no ABCs, no colors, would pick things up off the floor and put them in his mouth. They knew he was really, really sharp and smart and intelligent, but he just didn't know how to communicate. He started in the program and is a totally different young boy today. He, from what I hear, is talking up a storm, knows his colors, ABCs, numbers, loves to build things, and the best news I can share with you, a couple weeks before Christmas, for the first time ever, he called his parents Mom and Dad. Can you imagine being the parents who have yearned for hearing those simple words? And they got that amazing Christmas gift. And that's thanks to you, the donors that stepped up and supported us just 2 years ago. So now, in 2021, here we are. We need your help once again. It's our kids. The kids who are going through mental health crisis. The kids who are fighting through substance use disorders. And you know what? They shouldn't have to wait to get the help that they need. Your generosity isn't just an investment in Family Service and Guidance Center. It's helping those kids live happier, healthier lives and investing in the community for generations to come. Those kids that will be served in these programs, they deserve the chance to recover, have hope, and heal. So, now's your turn. Are you ready to step up to the challenge? Are you ready to make the difference now? Okay, I'm gonna walk you through real quick how you can do that in a variety of different ways. If you want to make a donation with a credit card, simply click on the blue Donate Now button below. To make a one-time donation, enter your dollar amount on that first screen that you see and click Continue. On the next page, that's where you're going to enter in your payment information and then choose one-time payment in the donor frequency drop-down menu. That's under the donor details section. Now, if you would prefer to make a recurring donation, you can choose from monthly, quarterly, or annual options. For recurring donations, you'll want to enter the dollar amount that you want charged at each occurrence. For example, if you want to donate $250 each quarter, you would enter $250 on that first screen you come to after clicking the Donate Now button. On that next screen, enter in your payment information and choose Quarterly under the Donor Frequency drop-down menu. Then click Submit. And if you would like to make a multi-year gift, we would be so appreciative. Simply type in the total number of years you'd like to donate into that Notes to FSGC field, and I'll follow up with a phone call to confirm all of the details. Now, I understand not everyone is comfortable donating online. So if you prefer to write a check instead of making an online donation, we've included the mailing address and directions on the website below. Couple of other options. Wow, do we have options? Couple of other options for your consideration. If you would like to have an automatic bank withdrawal, we have a form on this site to fill out and submit to us. And finally, if you have an IRA and you're required to take minimum annual distributions, we invite you to consider donating to the Youth Crisis and Recovery Center. If that option interests you, just leave a note in the Notes to FSGC box, or you can call or email me anytime. I know we've thrown out a lot of information here today, so seriously, if you have any questions or want more information, please just reach out to me. I would be happy to help in any way that I can. Your gift and your thoughtfulness will play a crucial role in taking the Youth Crisis and Recovery Center from the drawing board to making it a reality. Please make a gift that you can be proud of, that comes from the heart. With your help, these wonderful young kids and teens, they have so much potential. They could have a chance to live a happy and productive life. I just want to thank you so much for joining us this morning, and I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Well, we've come to the end of this year's Hope and Healing Breakfast. I want to give a huge thank you to all of our presenters today, and of course, a thank you also to our event sponsors. But most importantly, I want to thank you for making time to join us for this really special event. Your generosity today can change the lives of children and teens in our community for years to come. I hope that you have a wonderful Wednesday, but before you go, a few old friends would like to say goodbye.
Thank you for having breakfast with us.
Thank you!
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for helping kids like me.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.